Hey, okay, so yeah, we're over here. My back and hips are killing me. Yeah, so we're gonna react to Stone Protectors. We're on episode 3. Um, yeah, so let's just get right into it, shall we?
And I repeat, this is not a vacation.
Sorry, love, but you did say we was going for a bit of levity, didn't you?
Takes me
Of
back
course.
to how
And this
VHS
tour
used to
is
be.
the best thing in town, Levity.
I think that's enough levity for today. Not a bad
Uh-oh.
little invention, see? Well, neighbors, we got problems. Not for long. Let's boogie, boys.
Pernicious, Cliff.
How do you like them apples? It's Sock, Zinc, and the rest of the lizardlings. Whoa! And they are making this one bad hair day.
Isn't the point to get the stones? Like, I understand shooting at the hover car or whatever it is that they're in, but not near a cliff. Be because then just like the one was gonna fall over the side. Yeah, because uh the point is to get them. Yeah, because if the the hover car goes over the side, then game over. Why would you? I would think that you would wait until or like try and lure them into like the forest or something. Oh yeah, and at the beginning, this is obviously recorded off of a VHS. And and I remember those days. The thing about VHS and cassette tapes, I remember watching a video somewhere where it's like one of the better is uh entertainment whatever is cassettes. They stretch. The, the film stretches over a period of time. It stretches. Okay, it doesn't last forever. That was, that was one of those things with the VHS because I watched it so much when I bought the DVD and I watched it for the first time. I'm like, it sounds so much different. Yeah, when it's buzzing like that and everything, I remember those days. I you watch it for so long and it does, it stretches. And the worst, the absolute worst was when it would, because there's these if you've actually seen a VHS, my VHS is over there. And it has, of course, the two uh, sides, and it would be placed on these two heads. The worst is when the film would go over the heads or something, and it would, oh. And I can't tell you, there was one time I was at school, and of course, if you got these home videos of like somebody going to something and they bring it to school, they were so excited because they went to something or other and they wanted to show their friends. And I remember one time there was a local uh celebrity here, and um this particular kid got to be on the show, and it was a big deal when I was a kid. What was his name? Ramblin' Rod. And he was known for his coat full of buttons. Kids would go and they would take a button, and he would wear the button and everything. And he was part of he would show cartoons in the morning. And I remember his favorite was Tom and Jerry and everything. Yeah, you would watch Ramblin' Rod before you went to school. Well, anyway, this particular kid, his Boy Scout troop went to the Ramblin' Rod show. And so he was really excited. He got to go. And so he brought it to school. And when my teacher went to take it out of the VCR, it snapped. Oh, he was sitting there and just it's obvious he was trying really hard not to cry. But unfortunately with those things, they would they re it was a recording from the actual show, so I'm sure he got another one, but to have it happen in class in front of everybody was just awful. And so, yeah, stuff like that. I just remember after seeing something like that, I was so careful to take stuff out. And because you never know. Having to replace, and then when stuff was discontinued, because there were a few of those Disney movies that they discontinued, and so you never got to see it again. And just like they do now, you never see it again. And so, and especially those that you would record off of the TV, if it snaps, you're done. Oh gosh, those were the days. And it's so funny because with streaming now, and there's a lot of people that are looking for the physical copies because we're seeing a lot of where they're taking certain little bits out. And yeah, we saw it first with Back to the Future where they took out the ooh la la and everything. And they're doing it with a lot of these movies. And people are like, why are you changing it? It's one thing, like when I was a kid, the biggest thing that they would change, they would cut movies for time. That was one thing. But and then they would change stuff for, like for language. Fine. That's understandable. But when you are changing like with the ooh la la, so yeah, people are looking for physical copies now because they're doing stuff like that, and it's hilarious how things will suddenly come back, just like vinyl. They said vinyl would never come back, vinyl records. And so they made this whole thing about Garfield, the cartoon show, made this huge thing about how it was a complete antique. They had this whole episode about it. And because CDs were the rage now. And vinyl was out. They were never coming back. Oh gosh, it's funny how things make Come back. Okay. Anyway, let's continue. Get him. Yeah, get your guy. Oh, he's coming. I don't think they understand their game plan. Zoc wants them. He wants the stones.
Well, Zink, your little invention notwithstanding, once again the stone protectors have slipped from our grasp.
Oh, I should have pummeled them with my bare fists!
Yeah, that would have done it.
Predictable response. Force is not the only solution available, my friend. If I am to retrieve the gemstones, I must have some means of locating them.
A stone protector locator?
Precisely. I imagine such an invention is not in your repertoire.
No, sir, but the genius who wrote this book might be just the Joe for the job.
Professor Emeritus. Doesn't look like much of a genius to me, but bring him to me.
Rude.
A stone protector locator? Do you think you could construct such a thing?
Of course I can. I could build it with my eyes closed. But science is a pure cause, Zoc. We scientists should not become entangled in your conflicts.
My dear Professor, you misconstrue my intentions. I will build you a lab. You'll have unlimited funds at your disposal.
Unlimited funds?
For
Oh, they got him.
science and all Mithrandirians.
The benefit of science and all Mithrandirians?
You could win the Nobel's Peace Prize.
The Nobel's Peace Prize? You mean I'll never have to pay another bill again?
Exactly.
Oh, that's good.
Then, sir, it would be my privilege to build your stone protector locator. The stone protector locator. The stone protector locator.
Oh, by the way, Professor,
Oh, there's a catch.
make that a stone protector locator and extractor.
Extractor?
Uh-oh.
Oh, I'm not sure I like the sound of that.
I don't like it either.
Levity is built on a seam of unique crystals. And I have an idea how we can use those crystals to devise a way of blowing Zoc clear off Mithrandir.
I knew y'all were tough, Empress, but blowing Zoc off the planet?
It's not what you're thinking, Cornelius. You'll soon see.
Whoa! Will y'all take a look at that?
It's totally amazing. Holy moly.
Well, welcome to Levity.
What exactly do they do, these crystals?
It's unbelievable. Hey, will you check this out? Egregious.
That's what the crystals do. Suspend the laws of gravity. I guess it's what you might call cool back home.
Cool. It's progressive, babe. Empress.
Time to vacation. It's kind of like a spa. I've made a deal with Levity's prefect. You give Levity a concert, and he'll give us the anti-gravity crystals we need to fix Zoc's wagon.
The stone protectors.
Okay. Do you remember the Legend of Zelda episode where where the dad, the king, built a water slide park? That was the 80s. This is the 90s. It feels like there's always that formula where they start to these they always have that one where they got to do it. We'll probably see it in Jason the Wheeled Warriors, maybe not, but because I don't remember every episode. Again, there's like 60 episodes. And but they always have to cover, just like with this, it's a spa or, a park of some kind. And you know, it's and again, this is one that I've never seen before. Somebody requested it. I'm starting to remember like the toys and the video game uh, commercials, but the cartoon I never watched. And so but yeah, there were certain themes, and even sitcoms did it. It was always like the bratty child having to deal with that. Um, and uh, yeah, uh, oh gosh, I'm blanking. Full House dealt with that one twice because the two older sisters, the middle sister went through the phase of being the brat child, figuring she didn't get whatever she wanted. Because I remember the one episode, I used to love that show, and she decided that everybody was ignoring her. She hated, um and so she decided that her new room was the bathroom. I remember that her bed was the tub, and it turned into this big conflict. And then there was a time where Michelle brought the kiddie pool into the kitchen. She was just a terror, an absolute terror. And I remember that one because the Danny kept saying, "My shoe is wet, my shoe is wet." Yeah, they did that one twice. And Family Matters talked about it, and yeah, went through that one. And then of course the problems at school, and they had the drugs. There's the famous one with they circulate that one a lot with, gosh, that show with Screech. And I had a friend who loved who loved that show, where she's jumping on the bed and singing "I'm so excited." And then of course Fresh Prince of Bel-Air covered it with Carlton. He was going through exams, and he's, yeah. And every show covered that. Every sitcom covered. And but the cartoons had stuff like this as well, such as with with the spa. That's what I was getting at, was that the cartoons had something. They did their Christmas specials. Uh Masters of the Universe had a Chris every I mean, and like even G.I. Joe had a Christmas special. Believe it or not. Eh, I mean, like, it wasn't just Garfield and Heathcliff. I don't think Heathcliff had a Christmas special. I'll have to look back. But yeah, a lot of those that you would expect had a Christmas special. There were others that had Masters of the Universe, yes, had a Christmas special, and we watched them. And but yeah, the watching this where they're coming into the spa and everything, it just reminded me mainly of when Zelda's dad had the water park. That's my favorite episode. I love it. But yes, there were others that there's always that specific theme that runs, and they always have to do that. And so I just had to bring that up. Anyway, enough of my rambling. Let's continue.
There they are, my fighter works.
But where are they?
Levity. It's Mithrandir's most famous holiday spot.
In that case, my dear Professor Emeritus, it's time you and Zink took a little vacation.
Uh-oh, now it's time for the extracting.
We'd have an easier time performing in outer space.
Go back here, you little creep.
If this stadium just happens to fall down, things are gonna get pretty messy.
Don't worry, it won't fall, Cliff. There's been no gravity in Levity since the beginning of time. It can't fall.
Tell me about it.
Whoa, what's all this then? Hello, must be the biggest fan. Hey, Empress, what's with the air conditioning?
Those fans are all over town. They circulate the air. Otherwise, it would just float away.
Ooh, braille, isn't it?
When the professor hits the gravitate switch,
I would think that that would be
the stone protectors
obvious.
and their precious gemstones.
I'm a scientist, Zink. I don't like the sound of this.
If you don't like the sound of this, Professor, wait till you hear those bozos play.
The pain. The unbearable pain.
Your love is light as a feather. You got me walking on air. Your kisses take me to heaven, like I'm walking on air. And you are why this boy can't fly.
Professor Emeritus should be throwing that gravitate switch any minute now.
Here we go. Uh-oh. So is that easy?
Stones? He's got the wrong concert, man.
I got them!
Okay, first of all, I like the joke about the stones. Two things. Okay. It didn't really explain how, because they were having a problem with the gravity and everything, and it didn't really explain how they were able to keep, because they were, the band was having a hard time staying down, and it didn't really explain how they were able to keep on the ground. That was not explained. I mean, all of a sudden, if you weren't paying attention, they mentioned that the scientist was going to flip a switch to change the gravity of some kind. What? Second, and this is of course adult logic. How is it that it was so easy to extract the stones like that? And how was a scientist able to make, because I thought that these guys were the chosen ones. That was what I got out of the first two episodes. Mainly the first one. Was that basically these stones latched onto these guys. So how were they able to, yeah, that, okay, this, um, I don't know how Zoc is able to just recruit a random scientist and say remove the stone. Like he did try to drill the stone off, but because of the guys being connected, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. You're contradicting your writing. Excuse you. Again, this is adult logic. I'm sure that, and again, with the however long it was, next week, couple days, whatever, and it could be the next day, and attention span being what it is for kids. I don't even want to talk about what my attention span was. Some kids remember a little too well. I worked with kids, I can say that. And too smart for their own good. Oh. Look, I loved every kid that I taught. I really did. They were smart kids. And when I was teaching dance, there were times that I would tell them one thing. The next day, I was telling them something, and they said, "But you told us this." And I'd be, "Yeah, yeah, I did, didn't I?" Caught in the act. Oh, good heavens. And but again, I miss it, but I don't think that I could handle teaching again. And it's mainly because of my destroyed back. And it breaks my heart. All right, let's keep going. Let's see what happens.
They're mine. The gemstones are mine.
Okay.
Oh, something is terribly wrong. I should have never agreed to help Zoc.
Abort.
What's happening? The gemstones are parking in the wrong places.
What happened?
Relax, Cornelius. I'll take care of Zinc. Ooh.
Chester lost his strength. The gemstones are mixed up.
Hey, wow, hey, what the? Why can't I skate no more? Whoa.
You've each got the wrong gemstones.
Yeah, that's another thing. I would think that the gemstones would know where to go.
Never mind the hair. It's your gemstone I want.
Buzz off, you thieving lizard. Egregious, man.
You've got Chester's strength. All your powers are mixed up.
Well, who's got my voice?
I'm out of here. This is great.
They don't think so.
I am deeply disappointed in you, Professor. I was your benefactor. I provided you with a laboratory, with everything a scientist ever dreamed of. And what do I have in return for my generosity?
Diddly zip, nada, and zilch. That's what we got.
Put him down, my dear fellow. We don't want to damage him, do we?
Not yet.
I didn't mean to let you down, Zoc. I'll start again. I'll rebuild the machine. Oh, just don't take away my no-bills prize.
Look, you get us. Me. Him, the gemstones, and you get your blasted no-bills prize, Professor.
A 1 and a 2 and a...
Oh dear. Just like back home.
Well, this is just great. It's not just your special powers that have been switched around. Now none of you can play either. And if you can't play, how are we going to persuade the prefect of Levity to give us those crystals?
Hang about, love. I may have forgotten how to play, but I still know how to think.
How are you doing, Professor Emeritus?
Okay. How? Okay. Like, I understand the superpower because the superpowers are connected to the stones, but how would the playing change? Just go to the instrument that you played. I would think that because if the gemstone gave you the talent, then just do that. Am I weird? I, again, adult logic. And it sounds like there's about to be a mutiny here because this guy, this lizard guy, keeps saying we. I think he was doing that in the last episode. Yeah, I have a feeling that by the end, we're going to be seeing. Yeah. uh, how long before we see him try to take over Zoc's position? Yeah. And I keep forgetting because they said that this music is horrible and ear splitting and all of that. I keep forgetting that they're more into the classical music and everything, not the rock and roll. I forgot about that. Okay, let's continue.
You know science cannot be rushed. It moves at its own pace.
Is that right, Prof? Well, let me give you some advice. If you don't pick up the pace, you'll be picking up the pieces. You got that? Now, where are the gemstones?
They seem to be at the Levity Bowl again. But what are they doing?
Right, lads. Let's give it a whirl.
Ready?
Throw your gravitate switch in exactly 60 seconds. We'll be in place by then.
As you wish.
Well, as the wig maker said to the bald guy, there goes.
Oh my, the gravitate switch is hyperacted. Levity is losing its levity.
Was the Nobel's Peace Prize worth this?
Oh, something awful has happened.
Not as awful as something that's gonna happen, Professor.
No!
Sir,
What is it?
we have a message from Lord Sox, sir. He orders us to return to headquarters for a strategic planning meeting. There he is.
He got away.
Forget it! He's as useless to our cause as that idiotic machine of his. I'll deal with him later. In the meantime, Let's strategically plan.
The brains have failed, my dear Zink. We must now try brawn.
Now you're speaking my language, sir.
If the stone protectors are indeed buried, retrieving the gems will be child's play.
Thank my stars. The stone protectors are still in one piece.
Well, hello. Look, I got my topaz back. Egregious.
Excuse me. Excuse
Yeah.
Professor Emeritus, what are you doing here?
I'm afraid I'm responsible.
Of course she would know who he is.
Here at Levity.
The blades are back!
You told me the stone protectors were buried, Zink. Is this what you call buried?
I'm working on it, sir! I'm working on it!
Well then, lad, if you broke it, you can probably fix it, right?
Oh, it's hopeless. I'm a failure. I'll never retrieve my career.
Here now, leave it out, lad. What sort of negative thinking is that? I mean, where's your sense of scientific responsibility?
Scientific responsibility? Oh, yes, Angus, my boy, you're right.
Oh, good heavens. You know, at first when it split open like that and it showed them laying together, I thought that the one that had strength opened it up. But then I remembered they didn't have uh the stones anymore. And so what made it split like that? It was an earthquake. That's what it was. Oh, good heavens. Oh my goodness. You know, this scientist professor guy reminds me of just the animation of him and the look of him and everything. There was a episode of Darkwing Duck that had two professor, I think it was the one that introduced bushroot, and these two scientists that of course I think this was much later than this. I think this one came first. But and the two names was a play on one of the cartoonists of the time. Gosh, I wish I could remember his name. But I'm surprised Disney got away with that. But yeah, these two were making fun of Bushroot, and so he decided he was going to show them, and that's how he ended up as Bushroot, of course. But something about the animation for this reminds me of that. And it wouldn't surprise me. Again, it's one of those where you see it at the same time, you know, for as much as people talk about, well, you know, they were all about ducks. We didn't really see ducks all that much. It was like DuckTales, Count Duckula, uh, Darkwing Duck, I think that's it. 3. Oh my gosh. But yeah, there was every once in a while you had a certain thing like the scientists, the scientist character or that kind of thing. And so then all of a sudden you had that running through different Count Dracula was all on its own. I mean, and I love it. Oh, oh, good heavens. How can you dislike Dracula? Anyway, let's keep going. Where are these fireballs coming from? I miss it.
Throw them off.
Right on, Professor.
Oh, that's where they're coming from.
The final curtain.
Here goes nothing.
What?
A traditional scientific term.
They got Levity back.
In the name of Delphincula.
Put me down!
What?
He's back in business.
But, what happens if those bags of hot air up there get a hold of the weapons?
Hot air? Angus, you're a genius! Grab onto whatever you can!
Of course.
Get the picture, boys?
This is humiliating!
Interesting experience nonetheless. We shall learn from it, Zeke, and come back stronger than ever before.
Gotta agree with him. It is interesting.
A thousand apologies, Your Highness. I just didn't understand the gravity of the situation.
Haha, puns.
Pun intended. From now on, I swear allegiance to you and your cause.
Well, you can start right here, Professor.
Anti-gravity crystals?
Exactly. We need to figure out how to fit the crystals into some kind of anti-gravity cannon.
Totally brill! We can suspend anyone who attacks us.
I could build such a cannon. Indeed, I could do it with my eyes closed.
But first, you boys owe Levity a concert. Hey!
Yes, sorry, love. We thought if the professor could do it with his eyes closed, why not us?
And that's the end. So basically, yeah, there were a few things that I mean, like all of a sudden things went back together and it's like, but how? I guess once the anti-gravity came back, the levity, uh everything went back together, like the concert hall or whatever was pieced back together. Is that how it works? I need answers. But again, it's a cartoon, so cartoon logic. Anyway, that is episode 3.